Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I do reports, analysis, projections and forecasts based on what information I have at the time. I stick to source as much as possible, namely Tesla and Elon, as no one knows what's going on with the company more. But it would be obtuse of me to not update said analysis when more information surfaces, rather than continually grasp at straws to reinforce my targets as if I'm some sort of stock market oracle. They say a good investor knows when to sell their losers, but a great investor will even short them. It's difficult to change your beliefs and stay dynamic with what's going on in something you're committed to. And wait, I'll just interject there quickly. No, I'm not selling or shorting Tesla. That still looks solid. But I might have to readjust my deliveries target with what's been going on so far this year. When I did my initial forecast for this year's projection, 1 million cars looked achievable, with even a 50,000 unit buffer. I'm no longer sure this is a possibility. We will start with what's been happening in China. Now, as some of you know, I thought it was unlikely that the April China numbers from the CPCA were as low as the media were inferring them. But now we also have the official production numbers from China. It was initially thought that only about 25,000 cars came off the lines in Shanghai. But we're now hearing that they ended up producing 30,494, still down from last month, but not as bad as the media were reporting. It's still down about 15,000 fewer cars than I would have hoped for the month, and will affect Q2 quite a bit as a result. But the scaling has continued, and we should see a much better May come out of China. Aside from downtime, to me, it looks like the Model Y is ramping much faster than the Model Y in Fremont. But why were the China numbers so low? It would appear that the production lines were down for a bit. For what it sounds like both the Model 3 and Model Y. We had heard rumours that the Model Y could be down for 2 weeks. If this is the case, then what might be the reasons for the downtime? For starters, Tesla are continually modifying and improving their production line. This does involve downtime. We are given figures of what capacity the factories are capable of, but this doesn't actually include the downtime. It seems that April was a month that did suffer some of this downtime. Other possibilities of the downtime could have been Tesla removing radar from the cars. As you've likely heard, Tesla are no longer going to rely on radar for their FSD, and believe it can be achieved through vision alone, through the cameras, same as how humans also drive. It might have required the production lines to be down in order to remove this feature, although you would have also thought we would have seen a similar scenario at Fremont, if that had been the case. If the Shanghai Model Y line was down for 2 weeks, or essentially half of April, then this is a very impressive outcome. We've heard that 8,358 Model Ys came off the line for the month. If you scale that up to the full month, then that is close to 17,000 Model Ys. That is an absolutely outstanding number, considering in March, Tesla did just over 10,000 Model Ys. In other words, they've ramped up the equivalent of 70% for the month. Oh, and in case you weren't keeping track, if you scale that up for the year, that comes in at 200,000 cars at an annual rate. But wait, that exceeds their annual capacity of 200,000. In other words, within about 4 months of ramping up, Tesla have quite possibly already reached their alleged capacity. I say alleged capacity as we are already past capacity for the Model 3, but as for Shanghai, well, this capacity was set before they were using the likes of the Gigafactory. There have been a lot of advances since. Tesla have been hitting average annual run rates of over 300,000 now in several months, with the Shanghai Model 3. Their alleged capacity is 250,000, and they still seem to be increasing. My previous guess was that Model Y capacity could actually reach 250,000, rather than the 200,000 Tesla are giving us. But given Model 3 is already 50,000 above capacity, then maybe Model Y factory could actually hit 300,000 too. Although it being a slightly smaller factory, the advances in gigapresses would have significant impact. Most people have been focused on what's to come out of Berlin or Texas this year to see if Tesla can still come close to 1 million deliveries for the year. But I feel like not nearly enough attention is focused on China. If Model Y ramps up to 25,000 units a month by June or July, then we will see around 500,000 cars this year just from China. I should probably do some hard numbers on that to identify the potential, but I definitely feel it's being neglected. Not to mention all the negative press coming out of there lately. No one even wants to look in that direction. Not only that though, but the Model Y in Fremont hasn't completed its ramping up. Again, they're also using the gigapresses there. But Tesla is still not close to their capacity. At Fremont, last quarter, I estimate Fremont did around 100,000 units of Y and 3. Their quarter capacity is 125,000. This capacity was set well before Gigapress and any other new Model Y efficiencies. If Model 3 is more or less at capacity at 50,000 a quarter, that would mean Model Y could reach 75,000. But if it's going above capacity by 20%, like Shanghai, then that might be 90,000. So it is possible Fremont could be reaching even 140,000 a quarter by the end of the year. Finally, it sounds like Model S deliveries will start this quarter. Despite the delivery date being pushed back a week, it still seems very likely, although we won't be entirely sure as to just how much ramping up will be required on the Model S line. However, we are expecting a few surprises too. Some rumours are that Plaid may even have 4680 batteries, but personally I think that's unlikely. And at a very rough guess, they may even be able to get 5,000 to 7,000 Model S's delivered this quarter. Although the numbers are low, the models do carry a lot of profit with them, and it would definitely help contribute to the financials at the end of the quarter. Anyway, we all love a good Tesla event. But still no mention of when we might expect deliveries for the Model X. I could say hopefully July, but I don't have too much to back that up. However, photos of the new X are starting to circulate online, which is a promising sign. It means hopefully they're in some sort of test production. But I guess it was all hands on deck getting the S released as fast as possible. I wouldn't have thought there'd be another delivery event for when the Model X is complete. However, I would expect there's a reasonable chance of us viewing the new X at the Model S deliveries event. A Tesla event is a rare occasion. 2 consecutive months would not be a likely occurrence. So it might not be too extreme to expect we might hear some of the new Model X extra features. And yes, I think the yoke is really cool. But seriously, just China and Fremont alone can reach quite a level of capacity. I think because there is so much attention on Texas, Berlin and 4680 batteries, everyone is neglecting the progress that is happening at Tesla's only operational factories. Therefore, at this stage, I believe it likely Q2 will be Tesla's record month for deliveries. I think Berlin is just about a write-off in regard to making a large contribution to deliveries this year. Elon seems optimistic that production will start this year, but that may not mean deliveries unfortunately, and even if it does, the numbers will likely be low. Texas, however, still sounds like it's on track, with even some hope on Cybertrucks this year. But if they can start production at the end of Q3, then we should at least see some Model Y deliveries. And if they're ramping up anything like China, then they could actually make a contribution. I think I need to update my spreadsheet with more optimistic numbers from Model Y, but less optimistic from Berlin, so we can get some more accurate numbers and see what sort of chance we have at reaching that 1 million. At the end of the day, whether it's 1 million or 900,000 units, it's still amazing progress, particularly given that the 2 most expensive models have been out of production for half the year, and Germany is creating so many issues with the Berlin factory. Thanks for listening, please hit the thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe.